It is Liverpool 1, Sunderland 1. And a very frustrating game to watch indeed. Very, very frustrating game. Now, what went on in this game? Before I go on, just a summary of what I saw from this game. Number one is that in the first half, the approach was way better than the second half. In the first half, what we did was that we didn't necessarily pin them back. We didn't put all our forward players in their back line and try to force them back. We were trying to build and play in the midfield a little bit and then try and go with long balls. And for me, I think that was the better approach. In the second half, when we came in and tried to pin them back because probably we were playing towards the cup end. So we thought that we had to pin them back and force them back. But that approach, as I've said countless times, has never worked this season. And I don't see it working anytime soon. We need to really improve in our attacking play for us to be able to play that way. Because this is a team that is well drilled, Sunderland. They play with 6 players in the back line. And so trying to pin them back and force the goal or try to break them down systematically is the hard way of doing it. And for me, I thought Arne Slot would have seen this prior to the beginning of the game and would have had a strategy that would force them to come out and press us. Because for me, I think that was the only way we're going to be able to win this game. Forcing them to press us so that we have more space to exploit in behind them. Because if they sit back in their tight shape and you try to break them down, it is going to be difficult, especially for this particular Liverpool side. The front line is almost new and the intricate play, the one-touch play is not there. So it is going to be very, very hard to break such an organized defense down. And that is how come we almost lost this game. I'll also talk about the first goal, the goal we conceded. It was absolutely shocking from Van Dijk. I don't like blaming individual players for results in a particular game, but this one was poor from Van Dijk. I'm not upset or worried about the draw because I predicted a draw in this game, but I was looking forward to a goalless draw at the very least. The fact that we conceded, for me, is something that really worries me. The fact that we conceded and the pattern of goals that we've been conceding is becoming very consistent. Whenever we start to pin teams back, we concede. So there has to be a reason for that. It is not random. It is not a fluke. It is not because we were unlucky to concede that goal. There was nothing unlucky about that goal we conceded. Because Van Dijk, after giving the ball away, that was the first mistake. Giving the ball away. But after giving the ball away, he had no intention of closing down the guy who had the ball. He had no intention whatsoever. All he wanted to do was allow him to shoot and see what happens. And if you allow people to shoot, then anything can happen. You have no control over the situation. And it came at the back of pinning them back. It came at the back of trying to pin them back in their half. We had fewer bodies at the back and players were not in the mood to defend because all they were thinking about is attack, attack, attack. And that is how come we conceded. After conceding, the approach in which we tried to get the equalizer, forcing the play, trying to put crosses in, the crosses, this is becoming a very big issue. And for me, the pressure on Slot is hugely justified because the attacking play has been poor. There is no plan. I don't see any plan in the way we attack teams. I don't see it because we just move the ball and once we get into the final third, we lack ideas. We lack the idea to systematically break teams down. So if you can't do that, your other option is to draw them out, force them to come out so that you have space to exploit in behind. If you pin them back, there is very little space. Now let me give you the stats. the number of shots blocked in this particular game. Liverpool had 11 shots blocked. And if you watch the game, you could see from the eye test that we had a lot of shots that were blocked inside the penalty area, inside the 18-yard area of Sunderland. They were blocking all the shots. Why? Because they had a lot of bodies in the box. And if there are a lot of bodies in the box, you have to be smarter in order to create a better chance. The goal came from a deflection, the equalizer Liverpool got from a shot that was taken by Florian Wirtz. It came from a deflection. So that is also an example of a block shot, but it went through anyway. So are we going to say that if it is not a block shot or a deflection, we can't break down a well-organized team? We can't. And it looks like we can't, because after we got the 1-1, we continued the same wrong approach of pinning them back. Why are you pinning them back? Why would you pin them back with 1-1? And we almost lost the draw. We almost got nothing from this game. And for me, if we had lost this game, we would have deserved to lose because the approach was wrong. Again, if you go into a game expecting the opponent to sit in a low block and defend, why do you give them that opportunity to do that? Because that is what they have trained for. They have prepared for this. They are prepared to sit back in a low block and defend. And you go into the game and you pin them back and you ask them, set up a low block, let me try to break you down. Meanwhile, that is what they've been prepared for. Why don't you give them the ball? Allow them to attack and stay in a compact shape, play on the counter attack, surprise them. Or even if you won't give them the ball, keep the possession in the middle of the pack so that you can find a way to draw them out. Pinning them back and playing at the edge of the opponent's penalty area doesn't yield any result. It hasn't this season, and it wouldn't yield any results in the foreseeable future. From the way I said, that is how it is going to be. So we had 11 shots blocked, and all those shots were mostly in the penalty box. The other thing I was talking about regarding the crosses, we put in so many crosses, so many crosses. And out of the crosses that we put in, we only had 18% success rate. 18% of our crosses were accurate. 6 out of the whole lot that we put in. 18%. Sunderland had 25% of accurate crosses. So we're just putting the ball in the box. We're just crossing it. But they were ready for that. They were set up to defend those crosses. And we just kept putting the crosses in from Soboslai, from Robertson, from all angles. Even when Gomez was playing, he was putting in crosses. And it wasn't going anywhere. Our strikers, Isak was always behind the first defender. Instead of surprising him and coming across him from his blind side, he just kept lingering behind the defenders in that box. And you weren't going to win anything because this team is set up to defend those sort of balls. I really don't get why after we got 1-1, we just couldn't keep the possession in the middle of the pitch, try to draw them out and play around them. But then we decided to put 5 players in their back line. 5 players. Anytime we had the ball, we had 5 players in their back line. Doing what? Doing what exactly? Pinning them back. You keep doing the same thing and expect different results. And we all know the definition of that. It is madness. Because we've done that time and time again this season and it hasn't worked. So why are we not changing it? Why have we gone back to this? Against West Ham, it was better. We didn't do that. But today, we did that. Even after 1-1. Doing it at 1-0 when we're down by a goal is understandable. But after getting the equalizer, you still want to pin them back and put 6 players in their box. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. And this is going to be a long way back. It is going to be a long way back to some sort of normality, because it is just crazy what is going on. Now I'm very disappointed in Arne Slot. If he gets sacked, so be it. So be it. I really want him to be able to resolve this issue, but the way he's approaching this, because pinning them back at 1-1 and almost conceding that counter-attacking goal would have been madness. And for that reason alone, I would have said the manager should go, because that approach is coming from the manager. It has to come from the manager, because you can't tell me that players at 1-1, we have 6 players in the opponent's half and we lose the ball and it's 1v1. Like, how? At this point, we are still having that sense of arrogance that we need to win games. You don't need to, because you don't deserve it. So I don't know why after getting 1-1, we didn't think about keeping the game at 1-1 at least, because if we can't score, don't allow them to score you. And we almost conceded, even though we couldn't score. And if they had gotten that goal, there was no way we would have gotten the equalizer and would have deserved to lose the game. So the approach, I always talk about this, it is the approach. We all know that it is not all down to the manager. The players are not playing to the best of their ability, but you have to help them. You need to have a strategy not to lose games. The approach has to be first and foremost not to lose, not to concede. For me today, I would have been excited with a 0-0 draw. The fact that we conceded is the most disappointing thing I've ever seen today. So that's your instant match reaction. Thank you for watching. You will never walk alone. It is still Liverpool. Take care. See you again.